Alright, guys, so we got another anime we're going to finally be talking about for a review. And again, I already talked about beforehand, but if you guys have not seen this, and I will say this, if you're a fan of Fairy Tail, if you're a fan of Eden Zero, definitely check this out. This is like the brother or sister of those animes because we have again, I'm probably going to screw up this name, Farmagama. So again, you have where in this world you have these characters that are, have their own team, and they farm these monsters. They become a bond with them. They're able to use them, and to be able to fight, defend, and be able to fuse them into a much more powerful monster. And one of the main characters is Ten. He really reminds me of, again, Natsu, or any of the characters from Eden Zero. And then again, you got one like Gray. You have one like Lucy. You have one like Juvia. You have another one. All these different characters, very, 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 very similar to Fairy Tail. Again, if you've seen Eden Zero, you guys know what I'm talking about. So the entire of this story is you have where this world's leader somehow just dies, and then the other one that was among all these other warriors, he assumes the throne, and he declares war on everybody. And the island that Ten and his friends are on, they're like, okay, what's going on? And they have to unite and come up with this plan to not only defend their island, but you know overtake other one's islands that have sided with this other new leader. And what they find out throughout the entirety of the story is why these ones aligned with this new leader. And there's also a bigger secret going on than what we realize when we go further into the series, which even I was like, oh dang, I didn't know we were going there. Because, and I'll get into it here in a few minutes, but we see where, 10 and among others, because 10, he's not able to get different monsters yet because he just hasn't been able to. And then we have Lee, where he has issues with the dark, which we find out what happened, that a friend of his, he left her in the dark, which left him very traumatized. And Arch, she had to make a deal with this one that became the new leader, to where he put a curse on her. Did not know until we found out in the series. Imra, who is almost like oh man, what's his name in Fairy Tail? I can't think of it right now, but he was rescued by one of these other warriors, and he was deceived on his island. And then all of them, they grew up together when they were kids, and they combine their story and their journey with one another so they can take on this threat. And what we find out is the actual leader that apparently we thought died never did. He got so old to where he had to be using his underlings so he could become young again, because he is a angel, and so are two others that rebelled against God. They were cast down, and one of the ones that they consider Gramps is an angel as well. He just does not use his powers, and that's the reason why he's been able to stay around longer. And the one that was the king of this world, he uses his powers for very much evil, because the woman that was with him, she died. He had fallen for her, and he took her in him for her essence, and it really messed him up because he kept on using his powers, and it made him older. And so he was using different ways to stay younger, so that way he could redo everything and become so powerful to where he could go back up and rebel against God. So that was kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting that. It was really weird, but it was cool to see how powerful these characters become throughout this story, and how the bond between all these characters go. With none of them is perfect. They have their own issues. They have their own trials and tribulations that they go through, which again is normal in any other anime. And again, it's really similar to like Fairy Tail. It's very similar to Eden Zero. So again, the reason why I keep saying that, because it's made by the same ones that did those animes. And again, I love Fairy Tail, I love Eden Zero, and I think I'm gonna enjoy this one too. Again, hopefully it gets another season to where we're gonna be able to see it come back, and we'll be able to see where these characters go, and be able to because at the very end, everything is, hunky dory. They were able to beat this guy, and they become like the new leaders and the new main warriors of the entirety of this island. Now, again, it could be somewhat maybe wrapped into a bow in a certain degree, but again, I want to see just how much further we can go with these characters. I want to see how much further we can go with the story and what other new enemies we may come across, new allies we may come across. So, again, if you guys have not checked this series out, I definitely recommend it. And if you have, what are your thoughts about it? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Not as much as I did. Either way is perfectly fine. But what's your thoughts about it? Let me know, and I'll see you as always on the next one.